Hey, we're Desert Culture, and we are now in session at JackRabbit SoundShack.
So, first off, welcome in, guys. We really appreciate y'all coming out here, playing for us, getting this stuff out there. We'd like you all to introduce yourselves, if you don't mind. That way our listeners can kind of get a feel of who you are and what y'all bring.
So that's Daniel. No, I'm just kidding. Do it yourself.
I'm Daniel. I
Hi,
play
Daniel.
bass and sing.
Grant, play guitar.
Brett, I also play guitar.
I'm Taylor. I play drums.
Okay, well, you guys bring in the sound that y'all kind of had coming in here. We'd like to see if we can get to know who you all are as people a little bit more. You know, that way we can kind of break down the walls between the stage and the audience, or the studio and the audience, and that way they, you know, kind of get to know a little bit more about who you guys are. So I hear, Daniel, you're a teacher?
I'm a teacher. I'm a high school teacher.
You are? Okay, What do you teach?
I teach math, so Algebra 2, Pre-Cal, and Geometry.
How long have you been doing that?
This is
Because you look like a pretty young guy.
my 4th year teaching. I'm a young 30.
Okay.
If I shave, I can go to any high school in the country and blend in.
As
as a
opposed to
student.
as opposed to the full beard you have right now?
Yeah, I can't grow a beard.
Okay.
It's not possible for me. The genes don't allow it.
Just not in the cards.
Okay.
You have a nice beard. I'm pretty
I-
jealous of you.
I appreciate that. I put care and love into it.
Do you use beard wax or anything?
Beard oil. I'll
Okay.
put a little bit of mustache wax in periodically.
Beard envy.
I've been trying canola. It's not working.
Yeah. Well, it smells delicious.
I think
Okay.
we might be the least facial haired band for over 30 across the board. Yeah,
In
Definitely.
Austin, I think.
Definitely
Yeah,
in Austin.
especially.
probably.
Yeah, so Grant, I am a father of 2 girls and a husband to a beautiful wife. I do instructional design for a big tech company here in town. It's kind of a new role for me, but I've been with the company for about 10 years now. So designing, training curriculum and stuff like that for managers. So pretty boring gig, but I'm into it.
What company do you work for?
It's a big tech company here in town.
Is it named after?
Never heard of it.
Named after a fruit of some sort?
You don't have to say any names. It's okay.
I also have a wife. I'm just saying, he said it, so now if I don't say I have a wife.
Okay, so
She's not gonna
Daniel's
listen,
married
but-
as well. Well, she might. You never know.
No, she won't.
Okay, well, she won't. How old are your daughters?
My daughters, one just turned 12
Okay.
last weekend, and one is turning 7 next weekend. Yeah.
So you're a little bit older? Are you older than 30?
I'm a little bit. I'm also a young 30. I think I've got a year on most of these guys, maybe a year and a half. But we started our family very early. Married my high school sweetheart.
Wonderful.
So yeah, we got started early.
How long have y'all been married?
We have been married. Oh man, I gave her a shout out. And now you're putting me on the spot.
This can be edited.
No, it's been 12 years. 12 years.
Yeah.
Coming on 13.
Perfect. That's
Yes.
awesome. Congratulations.
Did you guys go to high school together or anything?
I went to high school with my wife. These guys, I think, went to college together.
Went to
but-
college.
I went to college with Brett, and our roommate, Danny, shout out, went to high school with Grant. So that's how we met Grant through
Yeah.
our friend Danny.
Danny and I played t-ball together, grew up together. Then he went off to Texas State with these guys.
Okay, so down in San Marcos.
Yeah, so they moved here. They were roommates. Then I moved here, started hanging out with Danny again, hooked up with these guys.
I have no idea how I met Taylor.
Yeah, I'm the
He just
outlier.
kind of
He just
showed up one
wandered
day
into
to
the practice
practice.
room,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I got my drums, guys. Just figured, I'd kind of give a run through with all this. Okay.
Well, yeah, actually, I had Daniel's drums and he had my guitars. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you guys do kind of like a musical chairs with instruments, from my understanding.
Yeah. I am really a drummer. I don't know why I'm playing bass and singing. And then I saw I had a drum kit that Taylor would use, and when I played guitar, I would use his amp,
Because Taylor's a guitar player.
because Taylor's a guitar player who plays drums.
Guitar players.
High fives all around.
So have you guys, you have played guitar and you've played drums in this group.
no, not in this one.
Have you thought
You
about
played guitar in this group.
switching?
I played guitar on the recording for this record when we had another bass player who he was just too busy with his life. He just got engaged and he was doing good on his own, but he was too busy, so we had to let him go.
Do you guys write songs on your own? You said you play guitar. Taylor, do you write your own songs?
I think we all probably do that to some extent. I think all of us have been playing music for since high school.
But Daniel's sort of the one bringing the songs into this group.
Correct.
Have you guys thought about blending your songs as a group?
It's probably going to get there the next batch of stuff, but I'll usually start with like the main idea. And the first record we did, I wrote and played most of it, but then I wasn't as good as these guys can do it. So now usually I'll bring like the basic idea, and then I'll give them their space and to take it further and do better than I could do.
Daniel is quite the visionary. He's got like a 5-year plan in his mind. He probably already has all of those songs written and can hear them in his head. So he'll come with us and we'll kind of work up parts for it. Whereas I feel like it would probably more the way that we approach songwriting is like, oh, we're doodling with something at home and this sounds pretty cool. I'll put this away forever.
Yeah.
Well, you guys brought some of that into the studio today, right? When y'all were kind of like warming up and we were getting set up.
Yeah, that was the first time I'd ever heard that song that you've been working on. It sounds awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Usually the way it works is like I'll write half of something and I can't figure out where to go, and then I'll take it to Daniel and he'll finish it for me. Is how my stuff that gets completed. So.
Or I'll write a guitar part and I'm like playing it, but you can hear like the flubs, and then I give it to them and they can play it a lot better than I can.
Heard. I know how that goes. So the first song that we played, Elva, do you guys want to talk about that a little bit? Daniel, I assume you wrote all these songs, since we're kind of talking about that. All the songs you brought in today.
Yeah, Elva, and most of the songs off this record are kind of like we had the first thing we did was a lot of ideas, and I tried to like narrow it down to one certain sound that most of this record has, and kind of a more dark tone, like just, I don't know, more dark. And so Elva is my dad's mom, and so there's a story from my dad that I kind of took and I stole and I kind of stretched it into a narrative that is the song.
Okay, sweet.
It's a pretty cool story.
Yeah, well, in the song, I talk about my uncle John, who was my dad's older brother, who he passed away when my dad was 16, so he was the oldest of the family. And when he died, my grandmother, they were living in San Antonio when he passed away. And my grandmother kind of got depressed over her firstborn son dying. And so my family moved to Mexico, where my dad met my mom, and they eventually got married. And so I'm from that. So it's a weird thing, like if my Uncle John had never passed away, I don't know if my dad would have been my mom.
You might not be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting.
So like, oh, yeah.
Plus, it made a pretty good song.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And then some of the stuff, I'll take a story and then like, stretch it. And
Were you born in Mexico?
no, I was born in Houston, but my parents, they were both born in the States and they moved to Mexico and they got married in Mexico, but then they moved back to the States because it's better.
Okay. I'd like to talk to you guys about your influences probably in the next segment, so after we hear the next song. But Vance actually pointed out that you guys have kind of a, like you were saying, dark. It's almost like got a Quentin Tarantino vibe to it. Like it's a dark surfer
rock,
music type. Yeah, surfer rock. Again, I don't want to get too deep into influences, but is that something that you guys just all kind of mesh with well? Is that just what you all hear? Does that come from your influences, or does it just you just like the way it sounds, and so that's how you play?
I think it's more I like the way it sounds.
Okay.
And when I started as a drummer, when I started to write songs on guitar, I wasn't as good. Or I don't have like a great grasp of all the chords I could possibly use. So I just started writing more, I guess, surfer type songs, and I don't know, they just seemed easier for me to write.
Okay.
I've never been surfing before.
I don't know if that would actually influence the music, but I mean, again, I've never been surfing either, so I don't know.
yeah, I think when I started coming around y'all's place, it was when Silver Age was being mixed. And I picked up on the surfy vibes, and surf guitar is a huge influence for me growing up. So I think that's what drew me to want to hook up with you guys. But yeah, I think you kind of nailed it. Like, I feel like we're just waiting for Robert Rodriguez to be like, hey, we'd like to use that track. So
I would love that.
Robert, if you're listening.
He just wrapped up a movie in town, actually. One I'm pretty stoked to see. We don't have to get into it.
Is it about surfing?
It is not about surfing, no.
Machete 3 on the waves.
Point
So
Break
you guys
4.
have 3 albums out?
We have. This will be our second one that
Oh,
comes
this is your
out
second.
at the end of April.
Yeah, do you have an
early.
actual release date?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
I think we've been working with our PR people to get that nailed down, but trying to
Who
late April.
Who are your PR guys?
Noisy Ghost.
Noisy Ghost?
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
Shout out Michelle.
They're based out of Austin here or
Austin and Savannah.
Georgia? Okay. I'm terrible with geography.
Daniel can name all the state capitals. Do you want
No. But you can ask me to say outside the capital.
No.
to? West Virginia.
Charleston.
He's right.
Yep.
He's right. We'll
Checks
stop
out.
that one before it gets going.
Okay, well, do you guys want to run us into the next song, Matagorda?
This is Matagorda in session at JackRabbit SoundShack.
That
that
was
close
super NPR.
Yes.
I don't know if you could have gotten any more boring.
Isn't Matagorda a bay in Galveston?
Yeah. So this is definitely, I think, of this new stuff, the most surf forward song, and a lot of the names from this record are kind of Texas landmarks or places. And unlike Daniel, I did grow up surfing on the Gulf Coast, and so when we was looking for a good Texas landmark that fit the name of that song, Matagorda was one of the places that we used to get away on weekends too. So. Yeah,
because I did a record here for a guy named the Jimmy Watts Band, and he's got a song called Matagorda Bay.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never heard of Matagorda Bay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's actually kind of isn't this sort of part 2 of like a 2-part thing? Because there's, what's the other?
On the record, there's a song called Desert Theme. And this is sort of, and those are 2 songs that were like, you mentioned a very small Tarantino reference. I mean, if you could hear Tarantino, then great, I'm doing a good job. Yeah. But with the surf song, for Matagorda, I wanted to write, and like we're not trying to hide. Like this is like very much what I think of a surf song.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, just you said you've got a song called Desert Theme, right? Well, I listened to the record you sent, and a lot of the record itself tends to feel like it has that theme, even though there is very much a surfer sound to it. I don't know, I guess it's might be the tremolo guitar or something that's kind of woven in there that really gives it kind of that desert feel to it as well.
I kind of wanted to think about, I'd never wanted to sound like a band from California, even though like surf rock is mainly from California.
Yeah.
And then I like Fender twang, so that makes me think of like country music. And if you could geographically, which I know you said you're not good at, but if you could geographically like find the middle ground between California and maybe like where country music is, so like Tennessee.
Right.
I feel
hopefully
like
that would be Texas.
If you could turn the opening credits to True Detective Season 1 into an album, this would kind of be that. Yeah.
Okay.
Why not True Detective Season 2?
It's terrible.
I thought the opening song was good.
Yeah.
So the whole desert theme, I hear a lot of desert references, desert theme, desert culture is your name. When you're thinking of the desert, are we talking like South Texas? Are we talking like Arizona? I used to live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's very desert.
I would say specifically West Texas, only because we're all from Texas. So as much as I like New Mexico, I want to be known as a Texas band.
So why, you said you were born in Houston or Dallas?
Houston.
So why are you thinking West Texas? What brings your mind out that way, especially since you were born in East Texas?
I think it's a very like the way Tarantino, a lot of his movies are very over the top.
Yeah.
And like the desert is very much like it is what it is, and it's, I don't know, it's very picturesque. Like everyone can imagine a desert and like cactuses and just, it's very strong of an image.
Yeah, and I was telling Vance before you guys showed up, because the artwork that's attached to the record you guys sent, I was telling him artwork for me, especially if I see it before I hear the music, really colorizes the music as I hear it, especially if it's done well and it seems to fit. And
Who did the art?
Justin Taylor. He's a tattoo artist in San Marcos who does really good work.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was good stuff. I mean, and it really fit what was going on. So was there some kind of an art direction, or did you just give him the music and say, hey, have at it?
I showed him a picture of what I wanted, and then he took it, to that next level because he's a professional tattoo artist.
Right.
But I definitely liked sugar skulls and a lot of like Mexican artwork and loteria artwork. Some of the cards, so like the sun and the moon and that Hispanic type of art. But also he does really good traditional American tattoos. So to combine those together.
Yeah. Plus, it has really a very geometric feel to it, which makes it feel almost like it was stenciled. So it gave me a feeling of being spray painted on the side of a building or something like that. Just artsy. It worked really well. It was good.
We actually took a photo in front of a Spanish or a Hispanic mural.
Yeah.
Was it the one downtown of the two skulls kissing?
No, it's the one on the photo you posted, the old photo of us.
Right.
It's on South Lamar, but I really like that type of artwork. It seems to just be very strong image.
Yeah.
That style.
It does work out. Very colorful, very bold. So it works out really well. So how long have you guys been playing together as a band, as this band?
Of these 4 people?
Well,
because
sure. I mean, let's kind of go. Let's go into it. I mean, if there was a different lineup before, what happened?
About 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had a 5th member, and he was the one who, when I was playing, we used to have 3 guitars, and then I took over on bass. because he was just too busy.
Yeah.
And so it helped out. And so now we're just us four, and maybe it's when we had 3 guitars, it may have gotten too muddy. So now that we have 2 guitars, there's a little more room for everyone to breathe and not step on each other's toes.
I was about to ask how 3 guitars work. I don't know that I've ever seen that. Was it like 2 rhythm and then a lead, or was it everybody taking turns? Yeah.
2 rhythm and a lead.
Okay.
When really the record has 3 guitars on it throughout. So it's kind of Daniel played rhythm on those, and then Brett and I kind of switched off on rhythm and lead depending on the song. So
see, something like that I feel like could work a little bit better, at least on a record, because you can pan the rhythm guitars, then you center the lead, and so that way you just get a nice thick rhythm, and then the lead's down the middle. But like when you're playing live, you've only got so much space to work with, and I think, like you said, it probably would just end up being a little more muddy than anything else.
I want to say the first time that we played as a 4-piece, there was maybe Salt and Sea or something. I for the first time really heard what you're doing on guitar, and I was like, oh man, that's awesome. Like this is the first time I feel like I'm hearing this song in some ways.
Yeah.
So what are your influences? Like who inspires you guys? I'm sure you all have your individual influences. I just wanted to talk a little bit about that.
A lot of my influences are bands I really like that might sound like us. I can't listen to because I'm afraid I'm going to rip them off. And so, a lot of my musical influences don't sound anything like we sound. But Me Without You is one of them.
Who is that?
Me Without You.
Okay.
Same. Me Without You. They're awesome. They're from Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Isn't that like a book that was recently turned into a movie, or I think that was Me Before You. It was a romantic.
Yeah,
something
Me
or
Before
other.
You. Yeah. I think there is actually a movie called Me Without You from like the early 2000s, and every time, I don't know. Whenever I first heard the name Me Without You, I thought it was this like emo band or something, and I was like, that's lame, that's weak or something. And then I actually listened to it, and I was like, whoa, this is super good. And
I haven't heard it. I might have to check it out.
Yeah.
But it was like the Devil Wears Prada kind of thing. I'm a metal fan, but I wasn't a fan of what they did. You know what I mean? But all the kids seem to like them. So regardless.
I thought I heard a little Black Keys somewhere in there. I don't know. No.
I've listened to them.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm very afraid.
It was buried in there.
I'm very afraid of like the Black Keys and Nick Waterhouse, All Laws. They're bands I really respect and I like what they're doing. But I know if I listen too much to them, I don't want to.
It'll start to shape what you do.
And so I don't want to rip off anyone subconsciously.
Gotcha.
I want to rip them off consciously.
Brett, Grant, what about you guys? Y'all share any of the same influences playing guitar, or?
I think, like I say, I've always really loved surf music, and especially that trippy spring guitar. So I think of people, and then also kind of Texas kind of twang. So I think of people like Link Ray and then the Ventures, just classic. But also, I mean, from the first time I heard it, I think as far as guitar tone goes, I think of like a Drive Like Jehu and Hot Snakes of Rick Froberg and the Swami. Just that guitar tone. I think I typically have a little bit of a darker tone, and it's heavily influenced by those sounds of like I say Hot Snakes, Drive Like Jehu, even Obits. Froberg's guitar and that stuff is really great.
And how long have you been playing?
I played in high school. I started in early high school, was in some high school bands and stuff. Like we were talking about earlier, I went to school for audio engineering, and so I started working in other studios and things like that. And so I started playing less and recording other bands more. And then really it wasn't until, I was always kind of noodling at home, but it wasn't until I moved to Austin, I guess about 4 years ago from Houston where I grew up, and hooked up with these guys. That was a big reason why I really got back into actually playing and getting some old guitars out and stuff like that. So these guys heavily influenced me getting back into actually playing.
Nice.
I don't know how much of my influences come in like through what we're playing, just because Daniel writes most of the stuff. I guess we put a little bit of like our own touches on it, but I'd say most of my influences don't really sound anything necessarily like what we're doing, but I listen to a lot of like Explosions in the Sky and This Will Destroy You, kind of post-rocky stuff. So I do a lot of delay on my guitar usually. Not a ton when we're playing in this band though. Me Without You is a good one.
I feel like influences regardless. I mean, even if your playing style within a specific band sounds like your influences or not, I think a lot of them really color the way you're going to hear your guitar tones. You know what I mean? Like what you like, what you don't. And then a lot of that really comes to the table, even unconsciously.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think that like kind of shimmering guitar tone of like an Explosions in the Sky, This Will Destroy You kind of stuff is that probably comes through a little bit. I've been listening to more like Leon Bridges and like Sam Cooke recently. Kind of trying to like pay attention to how people are like how they're putting their songs together.
Right.
Just because he's already made the statement that he doesn't want to write any more of the guitar riffs for the next album. So it might be a little bit more on me and Grant to write our own guitar riffs.
Do you think that's going to lead you guys toward a different sound than what you have currently?
Potentially, hopefully within the same wheelhouse, the same universe.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, right on. Tyler, what about you drumming for the band? What
Taylor.
Taylor?
Got it.
My apologies. Taylor.
It happens all the time.
I get Brad and Brent and Bread. I've gotten Bread.
I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm struggling to like remember everybody's names, but I'm doing my best.
Part of the job.
I was a substitute teacher for 8 years, and so like space for names is just gone. I mean, thousands of kids, regardless. Taylor, I apologize.
I even wrote Tyler on the paper. Dang.
It happens. I got 2 first names too, so they tend to.
Wait, what are they?
Well, Taylor and then the last name's Thomas, so that
Taylor
gets
Thomas.
interchanged.
They decided to leave the Jonathan out of it?
You're a Tom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I sabotaged him because I wrote Tyler on the paper.
Yeah.
Sorry, David.
that's
Go
okay.
ahead.
It's all right. It happens all the time. Influences, I'm all over the place. I listen to a ton of different music, and that's what makes it easy to play in this band. There's a lot of different people bringing a lot of different things to the table. And you probably don't hear a lot of what I enjoy too much in the band because the styles don't really mesh. I mean, I definitely exist still in the like late 90s with, Pavement, earlier Dinosaur Jr., that's whole mix.
I grew up on all that stuff.
Yeah, Sonic Youth, all that good stuff. But I'm a huge metal fan as well from the side of like Between the Buried and Me, Dillinger.
Gotcha.
That side of stuff, which you obviously don't hear much in surf rock.
Right.
But then, Austin, Star Wars, like Spoon, American Analog Set, older stuff back then. Yeah.
Gotcha. It's funny because the last band we had in Lug, they were a metal band, and we were talking with the drummer about his influences, and he's, super fast and really good at what he does, but he's a big fan of he was talking to us about going to a Dave Matthews concert and making sure he could sit where he could see the drummer. I mean, that's a badass drummer to want to watch.
Yeah, great musicians.
But it's just the styles are different, you know what I mean? Which I don't know. I think it's
surprising.
interesting. Yeah.
Are you older than them?
No, actually.
I think I'm the oldest, actually.
I think I'm younger. Well,
28.
okay.
I'm going to be 29 in 2 weeks.
When you said 90s music, I'm 41.
Yeah.
And so, like,
I'm 29.
Oh,
I stuck with that, like earlier.
that's good music, though. I mean,
Yeah.
that whole
Back when they were still doing things to
grunge
tape and it sounded good.
era,
Yeah, I think it like that spot between grunge and like the emo indie rock, American football style 2001 music is where I like really.
Well, they used to write, I don't know, anthems, and they used to write songs that had stories, and they were mixed well and recorded well, and then now it's just, let's make everything super exciting, but that excitement just wears off, and once that's gone, it's just, you forget about the song, and so there's a new song that you hear every couple of weeks. They don't last like they used to.
people
you know
have
what I mean?
shorter attention spans nowadays because they got the phone in front of them. They got to be on the phone.
Yeah.
And even the modern...
No, I wasn't calling you out.
That was brutal.
I just want to make clear what happened just now. He was making fun of people with their phones in front of him, and Brett can't pay attention long enough to even record the podcast without checking the sports scores.
It was not sports scores.
That was not
Golden State did
intentional.
not win. I'm just kidding. They might have. I didn't check the
A disposable economy. That's the problem.
Hey, I did want to ask you, have you guys heard of a band called Calexico?
I've heard the
Heard
name.
of.
Check them out. Since you're into the whole desert idea, desert themes and desert and the surf sound, these guys are from Arizona, and they have this mariachi band that sometimes tours with them, and it's like surfer mariachi. They got a vibraphone player, and it's
Sounds cool.
They're amazing. If you
Calexico.
can YouTube them, look them up when we're done here, and check them out. They are awesome.
Definitely.
Cool.
It definitely rings a bell.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them live. They're amazing. Anyway, your sound kind of sort of reminded me of them a little bit. They've
I'll hit
got
'em up.
horns and stuff. But
Yeah,
I'll
there's
hit
some
'em up.
horns on this record. We brought I think they brought in a trumpet player and an organ player on this new record. So there are a few horns
There-
on this stuff.
Yeah, there's some influence of mariachi in one of the songs,
Oh, nice.
or two of the songs, I think, which is strange because I typically don't like mariachi.
I just thought it would fit.
Yeah, I always remember one time I was in Mexico visiting my aunt, and it was her birthday, and my uncle hired a mariachi band to play at midnight, and I was just like, "Shut up! I'm trying to sleep. Why are you doing this to me?"
I mean, I feel like that's the only time they ever play, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
We got one track with a really wild trumpet solo,
yeah,
and that is where you'll find Tarantino. Definitely,
yeah. It's
that one screams.
C minor is the track.
C minor, is that the name of the song? Okay.
Yeah.
Which is also
No, it's just the key. We're leaving it out for you to find it.
Okay.
It's a reference to a Me Without You song.
Yeah.
They have a
okay.
song called C minor.
Ah, right on. All right. Well, Taylor, do you want to lead us into Badlands, the next song?
Yeah, this is Badlands in session at JackRabbit SoundShack.
welcome back, guys. We're here in session at JackRabbit SoundShack with Desert Culture. We really enjoyed hearing you guys play. We've talked a little bit about who you are, your influences, your sound, and I know you guys all kind of have day jobs. You're a little bit different from some of the bands we have in here, because all the bands that we have in here are like, we're gonna make it, we're gonna go on tour, man, and we're gonna do this thing.
Those
we're
poor
gonna get
souls.
signed. And I'm not making fun of it, because I was that guy. I mean, I still would love to.
That's good aspirations.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's
I think
not very
You
many
guys seem
people
more
would do
relaxed
that.
about
I
what
think
you're
that's
doing.
definitely possible, and the only way that's possible is if you do have the attitude. So if a band does have the attitude, like, go for it.
But
Yeah.
you guys are doing this because you enjoy doing it. It's fun for you. You all have day jobs. Teacher, you work for a major company that we won't say who it is. And do we get around to your day jobs? You guys' day jobs?
No, yeah,
We're unemployed. Actually.
So maybe you do want to start taking this really seriously.
Yeah, we're the ones trying to tour.
You're trying to push them
Do we
to
get
take
paid
a break.
before this or after? Was it when we leave?
We're gonna get paid for this.
I work for a newspaper in San Marcos. I write and edit and take photos.
Do you live down there?
I do.
So you drove all the way up here for this?
I did.
Well, thank you.
And it was totally worth it.
Yeah, well, thank you twice.
Yeah.
I work at an ad agency downtown here.
Okay. What do you do for them?
I design digital advertising campaigns for large clients.
Gotcha. What was it like getting into that? I do design work myself, so I'm kind
was
of
great.
that's a goal for me for the year, trying
was
to get
great.
into a design job.
It was a huge transition. I think touching on your last point about, some people being super driven and touring and putting everything they have into it. I think at one point all of us were there doing that. I know that I've been on the road before, and I think these other guys have too. And we, there was a time when that was all I did.
And then you have to pay bills.
Yeah. And then you have to pay bills. And, I wanted to make sure not to give up too much of what I love and creativity and whatnot. So I just gravitated towards that.
Did you go to school for design, or
Did not.
So what was the process getting into that?
So I don't actually do any design.
Okay.
I do strategy. I design
Okay.
campaigns in the sense of like how we're going to hit people who we hit and whatnot. I went to school for political science, which has a large data component. So I'm really
Right.
more of a data scientist than an
Okay.
advertiser.
Gotcha. All right. Well, maybe I should hire you for my job since we're doing very poorly. Yeah. So how often do you guys gig a lot, since this is kind of more of a just for fun, even though you are putting out records, which is even more than some bands do. How often do y'all gig, play, practice?
We try to gig once a month or once every 6 weeks or so. Just try to, especially when we're putting out the record, we want to be able to play, and that's sort of I think for most of us, it's the creativity part is where we get the most enjoyment. But if you don't really play the live and you don't try to get yourself out there, then it makes it much harder. You at least want to try to make some money back or to get some response, and that kind of helps push you on. So to where for me, playing live isn't a driving factor. It still seems like a necessary evil, or it's kind of part of the deal.
Is it mostly just in town, or since you're in San Marcos, do you go down there and play?
I
Or
think we've played one show in San Marcos.
We played one.
Working on maybe getting some others.
How many venues is that? Because I used to live down there, but that was probably close to a decade ago.
The best venue was Triple Crown.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about that place.
It-
Did you say was?
It closed
that
like
it?
2 years ago, and there's like a 7-story apartment complex going up in its
That's
place.
too bad.
Remember Lucy's?
Lucy's,
That
yeah.
closed.
Yeah, it turned into a bottle service kind of bar, and now it's a gay bar.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna
So-
say San Marcos has a gay bar now.
Uh-huh.
They weren't even open until 2 whenever I was living there.
Yeah.
Like the bars. So.
Yeah. I think there's two there's two venues that I think a band like us could play at.
Yeah.
that do
Which ones are
well.
those?
Kiva and Tantra.
Are those both around the square where they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
We played at Kiva, and I think they seem like a pretty good spot, because I think every college town needs to have a venue for small bands to just kind of get their feet wet and start off there.
Yeah.
Where do you play in town here?
Our last show was at Hotel Vegas. We played at Chip Charlie's. We kind of like those like intermediate stages. We played at Mohawk before, and I like Mohawk a lot, but I don't like big stages.
Have you been to Tellers?
No,
They got a small stage.
I gotta check it out. Tellers.
Where's that?
And the guy runs the sound off his iPhone. The door guy runs
Oh,
the
wow.
sound off of his iPhone. I was impressed with that.
Did it sound okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is Tellers?
I'm not good with
It used
geography.
to be something else.
Both of us.
It rings a
why
bell.
we
I
run
thought
a
it used to be
podcast.
something else. Or it
It's
used to be called something else. And now
I
it's
think
Towers.
it's-
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I thought it was down there, not far from Red River, but I could be off. I don't know. But yeah, I checked that place out. They actually have an upstairs and a downstairs, and they just opened the new downstairs stage, and it's small and the sound's good, and it might be worth checking out.
We like smaller places, but anywhere it's fine. And we like Red River is always I've seen so many great shows in that area and so many venues there, even though they're constantly changing. But your staples are always good to go to, and then always also fun to see new places. So like new places on the east side opening up, and that's always fun.
That east side's blowing up pretty fast.
Yeah, it is.
There was I drove for Lyft and Uber for a little while they were in town, and I drove by. It's called Fair Market. It's like an event space over there. And I didn't even know it was going up until I dropped some lady off, and she's like, "Yeah, it's a new popular place. It's already booked out for a year." I'm like, I had no idea that this was even built, and like I drive for a living, so it's going up real quick.
Fair Market, Dozen Street, all those things out on the east side. Sadly, at the expense of some awesome spots. Long Branch
Yes.
Inn. And
Yeah, Austin's changing so much. Try to, I guess, focus on. I think we all probably focus on the good, and not be too old man ish.
So do you guys do the whole South by Southwest thing, or you pretty much stay away from that?
For now, I stay away from that. I go out of town.
We play some shows without him.
I
I was
doing
about to
well.
say, you guys hit it up.
Yeah.
So with your all songs, some of them are just instrumental only. Some of them actually have lyrics and vocals and things. How does that kind of come about? Like, how do you picture or figure out which songs are going to have lyrics, which ones aren't?
I think the main songs that all our instrumentals were intentional. When I wanted a certain vibe for that song, I wanted something
intentional. Like we just forgot to record. We forgot to have the mics on.
Well, I mean, I don't want to be like. There have been other bands where we had instrumentals where I just couldn't figure out what words would go there. But for most of these instrumentals, I knew
You wrote them as instrumentals.
Yeah, I wanted them to have a certain vibe, and I don't like singing, so is that too.
Okay. So you said earlier you just off air, I guess you said you just sing out of necessity. What? Why was that decision made? Like, why aren't you just an instrumental band?
We love instrumental music, but I guess I've always written lyrics. So even for other bands, when I was the drummer, I'd still write lyrics. And so,
have any of you guys? I mean, none of you sing or have tried to sing, or I mean, did you guys audition each other out here and say, okay, we're gonna all like get together, have a singing rehearsal, and see what happens?
Like,
That'd be a bad idea.
Well, you did some backup vocals on the stuff. You've
On
got a
one
good
song.
voice. I would not participate in the tryouts.
What about you, Taylor?
I mean, I've done like backing vocals in the past on other projects, but never for this. Drumming is not what I'm always have done, especially on like a live music environment. So it's maybe something best kept separate for now, as far as concentration.
But if he doesn't like it so much,
I mean, you guys have your own dynamic, but there are a lot of bands where someone will write the lyrics, but somebody else will sing.
or you could trade off.
He's the one who's willing to sing. So that's
yeah. So there's that. I've thought about getting a singer or like, but it is. We're very lucky that this band we all get along very well, and we have similar interests and similar goals, and so it's already established. So if a singer came around who like had the same idea and was, because I also know it'd be tough for someone to sing and me be like, oh, here's the lyrics, sing my words.
Yeah.
But if they were cool with that, then I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
I would totally hug them and bring them into the fold.
You heard it here first. End session, JackRabbit SoundShack.
Holding auditions.
Any budding singers out there? You want to come audition?
Just don't try to write the words. No, just kidding.
Okay. Well, Grant, do you want to lead us into Terlingua?
Yes.
Getting his radio voice ready.
This is Terlingua in session at JackRabbit SoundShack.
All right, that was Terlingua here on In Session at JackRabbit SoundShack. We are back for our last segment. This is typically where we kind of talk to you guys about where people can find you, where are you going to be playing next, how are you guys on social media, so on and so forth. So do the fans have a way to reach you guys online, social media, website, anything like that?
We have a Facebook, Desert Culture. We have an Instagram.
Desert Culture, not dessert culture. For
Right.
everybody listening.
Right.
Contrary to
Important.
what the show posters might tell you every now and then.
Yeah, we got the Instagram, desert_culture.
There's a Bandcamp.
The Bandcamp, yeah, desertculture.bandcamp.com. You can hear the new single, Elva, which you guys heard earlier in the show. It is up there and out ahead of the record.
It's on Spotify, iTunes,
And
Google
is-
Play. I don't know
Awesome.
what that is, but yeah, it's on it.
I subscribe to Google Play, so it works out really well for me because I can just stream any record ever. But so your Bandcamp, does it have your first record and then the new single currently?
It has our first record, the new single, and actually has a song from even before that kind of was a brainchild between Brett and me that slowly turned into this. So I guess the first song that Brett and I kind of wrote in this style is probably from like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
And is this a
that one's
digital
on there too.
thing only, or is that you have a hard copy CD?
We have a record, 7 inches of a single from the first record, but this next record we're only releasing digitally.
Okay. But the last one, you can pick it up at Waterloo.
No.
You can ask me
No.
for it.
Okay.
Hit us up.
You guys
Tweet
have them
at
at
us.
shows, though? People can
Yeah, yeah,
find-
we'll have them at shows. You can contact us through the Bandcamp or the Instagram, Facebook page, whatever. We've got plenty of
But
those.
you only
7
put out
inches.
records.
Yeah, we put out a record for the last one just because we liked records. We wanted to have something a little different, but
I just got an
Not
idea for a
everyone's
record
record.
title: 7 Inches of Love. How's that? That's mine. Don't take it.
Yeah,
and
what,
our next show is going to be in April, early April. I want to say it's April 5th at Hard Luck Lounge. I could be totally wrong, but it is there.
And where's Hard Luck Lounge?
East 6?
It's Far East 7.
East 7.
Far East 7?
Far
Yeah.
East 7.
Okay.
The Far East.
Gotcha. The Far East, the
Not
Orient.
the Middle East.
Okay. Well, Vance, do you have anything else you'd like to talk to these guys about?
I don't think so. Appreciate you guys coming in, taking the time. We enjoyed it, and hopefully that it was worth your time, especially
Definitely.
for you. You know, anybody that came far.
We probably have about an equidistant drive, right? Mine's
don't
like
know what's
25,
about
30
it.
minutes. Yeah.
Compare.
Where are you coming from?
Just still barely within the Austin city limits on the north side. Way north, yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, is there anything that you guys would like to say as we're kind of closing things up and going toward the last song?
Thank you guys for having us. It was a great time.
It was.
We had fun.
Awesome.
The record's coming out. You can listen to it on Spotify.
End of April?
End of April.
End of April. Not sure on a date just yet, but keep an ear out for this. End of April. And what's the name of the record? Does it
They're
have
not gone.
They're Not Gone. Okay.
They are not gone, like apostrophe RE.
Or
Not
They
gone.
are
They're,
not gone.
comma,
They're.
not gone.
They're not,
Not
gone.
gone.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for listening in. Thank you guys again for coming into the studio and playing for us and having a little sit-down chit-chat. It's been fun. We are going to go ahead and wrap things up with the last song from Desert Culture. The next artist, we're not really sure who we're going to have in just yet. We're trying to get some folks in here. It may be a bye week. We'll figure that out. South by Southwest has got all of the artists going kind of crazy on what they're going to do, where they're going to play, what time they're going to need to recover afterward. And so there may be a bit of a pause there, but we will be up and running with you guys as soon as we can if that doesn't work out. I'd like to say thanks for listening in. Vance, you have anything to say?
Yeah, please check out the last episode that we did. That's episode 7, right?
Episode 7. This is episode 8.
Starting to run together. But with metal band Lug, very good mix by David Biggs.
Oh, thank you. That's
And
sweet.
I just caught a couple of songs. I'm not even a metal guy, but it's pretty cool. Check it out. Listen to all of our episodes. Spread the word. Tell your friends. If somebody's out there that's interested in being on the show, you can email us, www.nsessionjrss.com. Find us, like us on Facebook.
You can shoot us a message on Facebook too. We'll respond. We'll see it. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on our Podbean account if you listen to us through that. yeah, I mean, we're on Instagram, Twitter, InSession_JRSS for Twitter. Yeah, I think that's good.
That's all I got.
Cool. We're going to go ahead and wrap the show up with the last song by Desert Culture called Buffalo here on In Session at JackRabbit SoundShack. Thank you guys so much. We will see you next time.
Sure. This is Badlands. in session at JackRabbit SoundShack.
Hey,
Do you want to try that again?
hey, don't put a question mark on the end.
Yeah. I threw a question on the end. That was right though.
I mean,
Yeah.
in session at JackRabbit Soundcheck, yeah.
Okay.